Welcome back to Journey into Ayurveda. Thank you for joining us in episode 14 on Journey into Ayurveda. I'm Ashwini, and of course, I'm joined by Kate. For our last second episode, we are joined by our fabulous classmates, Sarah and Monisha. If you haven't got a chance to watch that yet, go and watch that right now. And I will link some of the videos here as well. And today we will pick up another fact versus fiction. uh, Today we're gonna talk about ashwagandha. Kate, do you wanna start us with internalization?
Yeah, let's do it. I can't wait to get into ashwagandha and talk more about herbs on our episode. So yeah, I'll do a little chant. We'll chant it 3 times, and then and if you're tuning in with us and you know this one, feel free to chant with us. But otherwise, let's find a comfortable position. If you're seated, you can have your feet grounded down towards the earth. Ears, shoulders, and hips all stacked, so you're nice and neutral through your spine. Let's take a breath in through your nose. Long, slow exhale through your mouth. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May all beings everywhere be happy, healthy, be free. May our thoughts, deeds, actions, and words contribute in some way to that happiness. And may there be peace, peace, perfect peace.
That was beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right. You want to start us off?
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about herbs. Herbs are substance which has medicinal qualities in Ayurveda, especially. We call them dravya. Dravya Shastra is like a whole big thing in Ayurveda. I see everybody like talking about like, oh, what are the herbs like we can use for the cough, cold, all the things on social media all over now. But Ayurveda talked about all the properties, everything related to all the herbs which are present right now, about that in very extensive manner. So I really like reading about herbs and their properties and like what are all the things we can benefit from them and how we can use them. Also in Ayurveda, especially they talk about to the point uh, that how to take herb from the plant. They don't want to take herb as is, like they don't want to be like uh just cut the whole plant and make sure it's not alive. That's not what they want to do. They want to pray to the herb, say thank you, and they have like a whole process of taking herb and making sure the plant doesn't die, making sure we get the benefit as well, and making sure the plant stays healthy even after taking the part of the plant. So we have like a whole process of how to make sure herb is in good quality and quantity, and also like how we can make sure we are preserving the nature is giving us all the medicinal properties, so we are preserving the nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
that's that's an amazing summary of herb. And we I always talk about the another sentence that we are not part of the nature, we are the nature. So whatever we need to heal is present in the nature, and I am super grateful for that every day.
yeah, I think you hit on something important when you talked about like people are doing like research for like what's the herb that I can take for a cough or what's the herb that I can take for like an earache. But the difference in Ayurveda is that we're looking at the whole person. We're not just looking at the symptoms or like the one thing that's like causing an issue right now. We want to look at the whole person. And I think that that's often what is missed when there's all these different trends that come out about like ashwagandha or turmeric or
Mm-hmm.
black pepper, whatever it may be, and whatever it will be, because this will continue to happen.
Yeah.
It's really looking at the whole person, and so you're looking at the constitution of the person, what's called the prakriti rather, and then the imbalance is the vrikriti, and so you're looking at what is the person's natural state, and then what is the person's imbalances. And from that, then you can start to craft a really specific plan. Um, and then you talked about already like the intentionality that goes into making the different dravyas or the different substances, because sometimes it's a single herb, sometimes it's a whole mixture of things. And there can be
Mm.
like the chanting and like all of the magic that goes into it. It's not just that you're like going to your local market and getting like whatever it is, right? There's like a huge
Yeah.
intentionality in that. And then the other thing that I think is really important is that there's specific properties and actions that come from the different, either like a single herb or like the combination of the herbal formulations together. And like you talked about, these are literally from nature, like, and what we're putting into our body is going to be converted into the nature of our body. And so it's natural. It's not synthetic. It's not like something that's conjured up. It's literally from nature. So what we're putting into our body is also our body because we're nature too. So I think that's
Yeah.
like such a magical like auspiciousness that helps with that.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, like the you hit the exact right point, that we are not just looking at like a random her and taking it. We are also looking at the person, their prakriti, their constitution, and making sure it fits them as well. So, and there is another verb in Ayurveda, that if you have like really good diet and lifestyle, you don't need any herb. But if you have diet and lifestyle, what's the need of the herb anyway? So herb is something we are doing in addition for short period of time. We are not going to do that like a long period of time. That's not what Ayurveda talks about. Like if we are doing like one herb lifelong, Ayurveda focuses more on like diet and lifestyle, keeping it straight so that we don't need any external sources to manage our life. We are not managing the symptoms, we are just making sure we are managing the lifestyle what we have.
Yeah. I think the like the power in what we've learned so far in our education is just that, the diet and lifestyle, that if you don't have the like quote unquote right, I'm saying like right in terms of like what the Vedic scholars and like the acharyas have known for many many years, that if you don't
Mm,
have that basic diet and lifestyle management, you can take whatever herbs you want to take and maybe they're like the right herbs for you. But if you don't have that alignment in your diet and lifestyle, then the herbs aren't going to do anything anyway. So you have to start with those really basic fundamentals and then you can start to progress from there. And that's like where the herbal magic can start to come
mm,
in. So I
mm.
think that's also really key. And like, I mean, it sounds really basic to be like, you need to check your diet and lifestyle, but like you really do. And I think
Yeah.
there's, I maybe we've talked about this too, that there's like the education that we get, and then there's like the education that would be really helpful if we all got. And I think that's the educational piece that's missing is how do you know when to eat and what should you eat and how much should you eat? And of those three questions, which one's most important? And that goes back to that basic idea of diet and lifestyle. So you have to have those foundations in there before you can start to add in some of the different dravyas or the herbal additions.
Definitely, yeah. And you also hit on the right part, that when you are saying we need a chant when we are taking the herb, we have like the thing about chanting. I was talking to my guru and he was talking about like why Ayurveda is called Ayurveda, because Veda is where the part comes in. We are invoking the god by chanting the Sanskrit shlokas. So why Ayurveda is called Veda? Because we are not chanting anything. We are just taking the medicine. We are just taking advice for diet and lifestyle. The Veda part comes in when we chant uh, for the herbs we are taking, and when they chant the herbs, and then the herb becomes active, and when we are giving the chanted herbs to the person, and then they take it and they get all the good benefits of what we did. So it's not just where simple formula of like, oh, just pick a herb from your garden and then grind it well and then with water or something and then just take it. It's not that simple. That's amazing benefit of Ayurveda.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of different ways that you can take the herbs that I didn't know. Like, I didn't really think about this until class, even though I've taken herbs in a couple of different ways. Like, I think the most common way is in the little capsule, right? But there's
Yeah.
different ways in like different carriers. And like, do you take it before or after your meal? And if you take it before or after your meal, how long before and after? Do you take it with water? Do you take it with honey? Do you take it with milk? Do you take it with cooked milk? And like, there's all of these specifications that if you're just a person that's like, oh, I have like a throat thing going on, I'm going to go get whatever throat thing I can get. Like,
Mhm.
to know all of the specifications of like how you should take it, because that's another intentionality. Like you just talked
Mm,
about the use of the different chants and like the intentionality and the prep of it. But then there's
mm,
also that idea of like understanding how your body is going to best absorb it and use it, based on like what the actions of the different herbs are, and what your body needs in that specific moment. um, and I think the other thing too, this might have been when we very first started talking about this, was that the herbs are meant to be taken for a short amount of time, like 6 to 8 weeks. Maybe sometimes there's a need to take them longer. But I remember Dr. J always saying that if you take something longer than that, your body thinks that it's food, and the body has this innate wisdom to know like what it needs to do to heal. So the herbs are kind of just meant to like course correct, and then you need to be done with them. So it's not like,
mm.
and I think that's different in Western medicine. I think I shared in our first episode about the thyroid medication, and that the nurse practitioner was like, "You're just going to take this forever." And I was like, "That's not acceptable for me." So it's very different to think about it in like a very short term, like targeted dosage, and then your
Mm.
body, like trusting that your body will be able to maintain that health.
Yeah, that's very important. Especially we're gonna talk about ashwagandha. I heard people taking the herb for years and years because saw initial benefit of ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is very heating herb. If you're taking it for years and years, it's kind of scares me, like thinking about your body, because I can see like what it can do, like if you take that for that long, and that's the thing. Like if you're taking something heating for like an year, it's not gonna benefit you. It's gonna mostly not. It's gonna do something opposite of what you want it to do for sure.
Yeah. And if it's heating and you're a pitta person, and then you have a pitta imbalance, so the pitta is like modifier and a little bit of water, and then you're adding ashwagandha on there that's heating, like that's like not great. So like
Yeah.
the other thing too in the like in understanding the herbs is like understanding like the temperature, like you talked about, the post digestive impact, or the vipaka, and then understanding like the quality of it, the taste of it, because all of those things need to be like in opposition of what's going on in your body. Because in Ayurveda, they say like increases like. So, like we were just talking about, like if you're already heated, you're already fiery, and then you're adding more fire into it, you're going to just have a big fire, and that's not helpful. So, like knowing all of these different actions and descriptions and intentions with the herbs is really powerful, and that's not something that just anybody can learn. Like that's something that we're still in the process of learning ourselves.
Yeah.
um so I think the other point that I want to say is that like I don't want this to sound gatekeeping and that we're like trying to like keep information, but like there's a reason that there's Ayurvedic professionals, and specifically like practitioners and doctors that in Ayurveda that have all of that advanced wisdom to bring
Mm.
to you as the rogi, the person seeking services, so that you don't have to like remember all of this stuff. Like I took ashwagandha, but I took it years ago, and I remember taking it before I ate. And I remember thinking that it helped, but then other people were like, "Oh, I took ashwagandha, but my practitioner had me take it before bed," or like whatever it is. And like that's because there's like different reasons and different ways that it's targeting for me that it is probably not targeting or helpful for you, Ashwini, or whoever else.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely not gonna be helpful for me. Like, I was taking, like, one of the other herb is dry ginger. I was taking dry ginger. Dry ginger is mild compared to ashwagandha. I was taking it, but it's still a little bit heating compared to ginger. Yeah, but it's still a little bit heating. I didn't know that. I was blindsided by like, oh, it helped me. I want to stick to this. Like we have all have that nature. It's not like we are pointing it. I took that initially. Dry ginger helped me a lot with all the challenges I was going through. Like it helped me go through. Like I felt fresh in the morning. I felt like energized because it was clearing my ama. I wanted to take it for lifelong. But then I had very pitta aggravation because I started all everything, and like I was making sure every ama is clear, and then I started having pitta aggravations when I take dry ginger. I was blindsided by the fact that one thing which helped me before is not going to serve me anymore until and unless it's just food. So it's not food, it's me. I cannot take it forever, so I have to make sure I get to that point. The example is to say anything which serves you initially, mean which is a herb, not that food we can take it for lifelong. Food and spices are, but especially with the herbs, we have to make sure something which served us initially will not serve us for lifelong.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not meant to. And our body knows how to heal. It just is it needs that little course correct and then we can go.
Mhm.
And we always talk about this too, and you'll remind me of the Sanskrit sloka for it, but like, the middle road and like
Mhm.
finding the moderation in things. Can you say it in Sanskrit?
Yeah, sarva karmeshu madhyamam.
Yes. Like that's like always the reminder is like if it's good for you right now, that doesn't mean it's going to be good for you in like 3 years.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
to everything. Sarva
Yeah.
karmeshu madhyamam, to everything in moderation.
Yeah,
And
totally.
also, yeah, the second point I can talk about ashwagandha, especially, is a medhya rasayana. So, what does that mean? You cannot have any ama before you take that. If you have any ama, it's gonna be really not beneficial for you for sure. So, if I tell you like, oh, don't take it if you have ama, you can ask me, what does that mean? So that's the reason why we are saying like consult a practitioner, anybody in general, so that they will suggest you right herbs for you to the challenges you have. It doesn't has to be this herb or that herb. It can be any herb which will serve you. Serving you is the important part.
Yeah. And Amma, just as a reminder, if folks have heard that or if they haven't heard it and they don't know what it is at all, Amma is
Mm.
anything that's kind of unprocessed or uncooked in the food or in the food in our bodies. So that can be literally food that doesn't get digested well, that then just like floats around as toxins and can get lodged and cause stagnation. Or we can also have some mental Amma, which can like affect your mind, which then obviously can affect your body as well. And I think that when you were talking about like the Amma piece, Ashwini, it made me think of like side effects and how
Mm.
um, when we look at Ayurveda versus like the allopathic medicinal approach, um, because there is such intentionality in assigning, or I don't know if I want to say assigning, in recommending people to take specific herbs, that's the reason that there's not side effects. If you're seeing somebody that's like a practitioner or a doctor who's like very steeped in the Ayurvedic wisdom,
Mm.
and they know your body, they know like what they're doing with you and with your body, there's not supposed to be side effects, right? Because you're taking them short term. It's meant to be a very targeted approach for you as an individual. And then you're done taking them and your body can move on. So it's very, the chances of having any kind of side effect are very minimal. Like we don't learn the side effects because we're coming at it with this approach of like we're looking at the entire person and we're tailoring the plan for that specific person. So like I mentioned earlier, like what I might prescribe, what I might recommend ashwagandha for one person may be a different reason than I give, somebody else the idea of taking ashwagandha. So it's very individualized, it's very tailored, and it's meant to like be that way for a reason. That's why Ayurveda is so powerful.
Mhm. Yeah, one of the side effects I have seen on social media is people feeling they're numb. They don't think that it's a side effect. They think that that's the benefit of ashwagandha. You feeling numb inside is not a benefit of any herb. It's gonna be side effect because you should feel all the feelings that you come through. You just have to know how to manage them. That's the part we are all learning together collectively. But not feeling anything, feeling numb is not, any herb is not benefiting you. It's the side effect of herb. Ashwagandha is especially powerful, and if it's not the right herb for you, it will definitely have strong side effects which we don't want to have in our life. So have the feelings come through, don't, but feeling numb inside is not the effect of herb, good effect of herb. It's a side effect.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a really good point. And I mean, we could get like really nerdy about it and talk more specifically about like, what are or what Ayurveda, what ashwagandha can do. And, a couple of the things that we learned was that ashwagandha can decrease vata and kapha. It can slightly increase pitta, like you talked about that already.
Yeah.
And so I think without even going further into like the dhatus or the tissues or how it may affect the different shrotas or the channels, just even understanding that if you're a pitta person and it can cause a little bit of an increase in your pitta and then you have a pitta imbalance, like, if you know enough about that, like, then like, oh, I'm going to steer away from this, or maybe I'm going to steer away from all of the herbs until you get to know your body better. You get to find the practitioner, whoever you're going to work with.
Yeah. Yeah. We it's what we think. It's this is what gonna happen with ashwagandha. We studied this for a year, all the herbs and lifestyle and diet. Now we understand how the herbs can affect a person and how diet and lifestyle can affect person. So we don't want to dump all the information we learned over 1 year into one podcast, but I believe that when you're taking herb, it should be suggested by a right Ayurvedic practitioner who knows what they're doing. And when you take that herb, it will definitely benefit you in the ways you want it to benefit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, it's, understanding the differences between like the Ayurvedic approach and things, and that we're looking at the whole person rather
Mhm.
than just like a specific symptom. I really liked what you said about the intentionality and the prep of the herbs. I think that's something that is not present in our Western medicine,
Mhm.
certainly, but like, the magic and like the literal, like the auspiciousness that comes with that it's not just that you're like taking like a little capsule or however you might be taking it, but you're taking
Mhm.
in like this, this item that is of the nature that's steeped in these like intentional chants that has been prepared in a very intentional way. And that's entering your body just to heal you. Like it gets to
Mhm.
be a part of you. I think that's so cool.
Yeah.
So I think, the reminder is to do your research and to know like why are you taking it, and if that means that you need to go see the practitioner or doctoral level, or whoever, like anybody can, or anybody who's studied the Ayurveda can probably do a good amount of information for you with the diet and lifestyle, and then adding in from there would be really helpful. So anything else?
I think that's all the information I had. Yeah. Do you have anything else to add on to?
I don't think so, but we'd love to know, like, if you've taken ashwagandha, or have you taken another Ayurvedic herb, and did you take it because there was some like a trend that came out, and you're like, I'm gonna do, or you were like, I have anxiety, ashwagandha is gonna be great for that, and then did you take it, or or you're like, I don't even know what they're saying, I can't pronounce it, but I want to know more. Like, let us know, like, if you've heard of this, or if you've experienced this, or if you've seen the TikTok trending videos, let us know. We'd love to know that. And then if you have a specific herb or like an Ayurvedic practice that you've heard of, I think there's been a lot about like oil pulling lately. But if you
Mm.
see any of these different trends that are coming up and you want us to dive into those, let us know in the comments.
Definitely. I mean, I take the right herbs for what's right for my body. And I have seen a difference in myself. Like, I'm not usually this calm and composed person. What what people in social media saw me as like a calm composed person is like a different version of me now, that changed because of taking herbs and practicing Ayurveda diet and lifestyle. So I think it can do magic when you take the right herbs and when you get help from the right people.
Absolutely. I think you're like finding your nature.
Yes, my nature is calm and composed and letting it go.
Yes, I love that. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us for episode 14, Journey into Ayurveda. Just as a reminder, our aim is to provide and share our educational stories and our personal stories, not to provide specific advice or like prescribe you different things to do. Certainly, you want to check in with a provider, whether that's allopathic medicine or another natural form of healing. Remember to check out our social media pages. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok if you want to check us out on there. And then we hope to see you all very soon. And we, just as a reminder too, we also very much trust that you and the wisdom of your body know what is best for you at all times. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again very soon.
Bye.